Morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's wonderful to see such a nice crowd and for so many people to be recognized today. Let's call this meeting to order. The Texas Government Code permits the Board of Trustees to meet in a closed executive session for the following reasons, among others: to consult with a college district's attorneys on matters deemed privileged by the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct or Government Code 551.071, to deliberate regarding real property under 551.072, a prospective gift under 551.073, certain personnel matters under 551.074, security devices or security audits under 551.076, and economic development negotiations under 551.087. If the board meets in closed session, we will announce the particular section under which we will be doing so prior to initiating the closed portion of the meeting. We will now go to item number 2, invocation and pledge to the American and Texas flags. And I'd like to introduce the young people who will be here with us today. Yes, we're standing. We can stay seated. I'm sorry. Until they start. Okay, that's my fault. I'm sorry. Today with the invocation, Bethany Sanchez is a proud first-generation college student who has spent the past 2 years at Blinn College after graduating from PSJA North High School in 2024. During high school, she was a multi-sport athlete, participating in soccer and track, while also being involved with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Bethany is currently studying psychology and plans to continue her education at the University of Texas, San Antonio after graduating from Blinn. She is honored to represent Blinn both academically and athletically. And joining her today is Jesus Florencio, a 2024 graduate of Belleville High School. Jesus Garcia Florencio has distinguished himself both on and off the field. As a contributor to the men's soccer team, he helped the men's soccer team earn a top 10 national ranking by the United Soccer Coaches last season. Academically, Jesus has demonstrated exceptional achievement. He earned Region 14 All-Academic Team Honors, was recognized twice on the Chancellor's Scholar List, and received back-to-back honors on the Don Wilhelm Athletic Director's Honor Roll. He was also one of just 31 student athletes named to the early watch list for the prestigious Dr. James H. Atkinson Cup, and he earned NJCAA Academic First Team recognition for his outstanding academic performance. Beyond academics and athletics, Jesus exemplifies leadership and service. A native of Belleville, Texas, he helped lead the men's soccer team as a member of the team's leadership group and was a key contributor on the team, completing 930 community service hours during the 2024-2025 academic year. Both of you are quite impressive. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now for the Texas Pledge. Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
If we could all bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us together this beautiful morning in service of Blinn College, its students, faculty, and community. We ask for your wisdom and guidance over this board as they make decisions that impact the future of education and opportunity here at Blinn College. Lord, grant them clarity of mind, fairness in judgment, and unity of purpose. May all that is said and decided here be done with integrity, compassion, and commitment to serve others. Lord, let all that we do be in pursuit of the truth for the greater glory of you. Lastly, Lord, we ask you to bless the students who walk these halls. Bless the faculty and staff who dedicate themselves to teaching and support. Bless our community partners who stand with us. In your holy name, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Our next item is public comment, and I have 3 people who have signed up. So in order, that would be Warren Schaff. Would you like to approach the podium? Thank you for being here. We have allocated 3 minutes, and Ms. Ehlert will help you with the timing.
Okay, excellent. Appreciate it. Well, good morning. I'm Warren Schaff. I'm the treasurer of the Timber Oaks HOA. So I'm here today to discuss the neighborhood's serious concerns over the proposed sports complex. Using Oak Street Crossing is our only access into and out of our subdivision, and we have major concerns. We're concerned that in an emergency, we and first responders will not be able to enter or exit in a timely manner. Oak Tree Crossing is simply not able to handle this additional traffic. We're concerned about the noise and light pollution in the sporting events and construction will bring and how it will dramatically change our quiet neighborhood. 70% of all homes in our subdivision were built after 2021 when your master plan was published and the sports complex was clearly not behind our neighbors, our homes. This is why 100% of our Timber Oaks residents signed the attached petition asking Blinn to move the complex back to the original site and not use Oak Tree Crossing. We're here not to complain, but to offer a safer, more efficient, cost-effective solution. In your handout, which I'll hand out later, we have included an alternative layout to the complex in the original location. This layout uses the space more efficiently and offers easier pedestrian access for your students to the complex. In our opinion, you're wasting over $1 million in earthwork because of the elevation difference between the 2 locations. Our proposed alternative saves those $1 million. It also allows traffic flow through the facility as opposed to just one egress in and out. Our request here today is to not use our small little Oak Tree Crossing. Relocate the complex back to the original location behind the Ann Gardner Livestock Building. Include light, sound, and traffic barriers along with landscaping of such barriers. And include us in future submittals and reviews from your CMAR architectural firm. We have questions. Why was the proposed complex even moved? And how are we going to improve communication between the 2 of us? We appreciate your time and attention to this matter. We hope we can continue to work together as a good community, and mostly we want to know when we'll hear back from you. So let me hand out the,
Sorry, thank you so much. Appreciate that. I'll get it to the board. Thank you so much.
okay.
Appreciate that.
The next person on the list for public comment is Billy Schmidt, also with the Homeowners Association.
Hello, board members and officials. I'm Billy Schmidt. I'm here at the request of my mom, who is a homeowner in that subdivision. This last Sunday, she celebrated 99 years. And that's an accomplishment, a feat, I think. A book could be written about all that's happened to her. We ask that you, in your decision-making, that you consider if that were your home there, or the home of your parents, what you might be doing, and be thoughtful in your decisions. Because for many people, the home is their greatest investment in their lifetime. We know the brain power is here for people to make thoughtful and considerate decisions. And hope that you keep us in mind. Thank you.
And the last person who signed up for public comment is John Powell with the Homeowners Association as well.
Good morning, board members. My name is John Powell. I'm a resident and former director of the Brenham Homeowners Association, HOA. I'd like to address the existing conditions which we've experienced in the last couple of years in our neighbourhood. With Blinn College. Blinn College is our neighbour and hopefully a good neighbour. Basically, when you've had shows and events and classes at the William Rankin Agricultural Stock Yard there, students, visitors have a habit of parking along Oak Tree Crossing. Oak Tree Crossing has got a very poor line of visibility from the entrance into your facility to the road. Okay, very poor visibility. This restricts the line of sight, and when they've got buses parked on both sides, traffic, people crossing the road, it's dangerous, okay? I've spoken on a number of occasions to Roxanne Marburger, Doug Pierce and Ben Burrows, and every one of them has been very cooperative, helped remove that objection, the obstruction. And I've also, there have been instances also on the circle where people that are working in Blinn College, in the agricultural area there, park their vehicles on the circle, which is definitely no. So every time I've spoken to somebody at the college, they've been cooperative. They've increased the police patrols and deterred people. And we also have a situation where people happen to cut across the circle. Instead of going around the circle, they cut across the circle coming from Timber Drive onto Oak Tree Crossing. So we've got that situation. A bigger situation that we see coming up is when you have the upgrade to the 290. Because they're now going to have traffic running from the 290 along Old Mill Creek Road into the college area, and that road already is suffering from over heavy traffic. The road is not fit for purpose as it is now. There are no pedestrian sidewalks for the students, for the runners that go up and down that road, or for anybody that wants to walk along that road, which I do frequently. So Blinn College Police have been very helpful and been very positive about having patrol cars occasionally parked at the beginning and the end of the day, because people speed up and down that road, okay? A lot of whom are students from your college. So that is an issue with the city, I know. But the point being, that junction, it has inadequate lighting, it's not fit for purpose, and to put more traffic on it with your suggested complex is not a good idea. We would like you to consider, as we said before, the entrance in from South Sager Street, from your complex into your, from your college campus into the complex. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. That concludes our public comment section for today. We will now move to the report section, and we'll start with the Chancellor's administrative report. Dr. Hensley?
Well, thank you, Chair Binky, and good morning, everyone. This is a special day. We have a lot of people in the room for a reason, and you'll find out in just a moment. Before we do that, though, I'd like to talk about a little bit of an update on our facilities. So let's start with the Waller campus. Trustees, I'd like to give you some notice about this project as well as several others. So let's begin with the Waller campus. The architect is engaged in design development, and the construction manager at risk will continue to refine its estimates as more detailed plans are provided. The master planning efforts continue in preparation for a preliminary replatting submittal to the City of Waller, and the civil engineer is coordinating with public utility providers and also with TxDOT, the Texas Department of Transportation. The first building at the Waller campus is scheduled to be completed in time for the fall semester 2027. So, 2 years from now, we'll be really excited to open up a new campus. Trustees, we do plan to discuss this and share more details at our upcoming meeting on August the 26th, where we'll have a workshop to discuss the Waller location as well as others. Now let's talk about the lease space in Waller. So as you are aware, in addition to the development of the Waller Academic Building, representatives from Blinn as well as Odom Goodwin continue to engage in negotiations regarding the Waller workforce lease space. And we anticipate that this lease will be finalized this month, so sometime within the next couple of weeks. Blinn's Institutional Research and Effectiveness Department has begun gathering the necessary information so that we can submit this location to SAC-COC, Southern Association of Community Colleges, to gain approval to offer courses at the new location. Now, we are hoping that this location, trustees, will open in the spring of 2026. That's this coming spring, this academic year. That is our current plan. And now let's go over to the sports complex. At the Brenham campus, the draft traffic impact analysis for the sports complex has been reviewed with the city, and a final report is in progress. Representatives from Blinn and the design team met earlier this month and discussed the project program, anticipated operational schedule, presentation of the current design, traffic impact analysis, parking, emergency vehicle access, pedestrian access, utilities, and the city's thoroughfare plan. Blinn's administration also has met with some of our lovely representatives today and others from the nearby Timber Oaks Homeowners Association to discuss plans for the sports complex. This project, as you know, is scheduled for completion in time for fall 2027 semester, again 2 years from now. And we look forward, trustees, to discussing this item as well as at our August 26th workshop. Now let's go over to a little bit more mundane things, roof repairs. On the Brenham campus, roof replacements at the Blinn College Park Apartments and the Band Hall are substantially complete. The roof repairs also have been completed on buildings F and H of the Bryan campus. And then at the Blinn Boulevard entrance to the Bryan campus, repaving has been completed and the road is now reopened to traffic. And now, trustees, I'd like to transition to the podium. As always, this moment is bittersweet. We have 7 retirees today, and we're going to take a few moments to recognize each of them. In total, trustees, they represent a combined a total of 126 years. Combined total of 126 years of service to Blinn College. So Sometimes they'll be coming up on this side, and sometimes they'll be coming up on this side. We're going to do it just a tad differently this morning. And I'd like to ask our first our first retiree to step forward, and that is Dale Jensen. Dale is the HVAC Technician 3 on the Bryan campus. Right here, Dale. Thank you so much. Dale, it's so good to see you. Well, trustees, Dale recently announced his retirement plans after 12 years of service at the Bryan campus, at Blinn College. Dale began working at Blinn in January of 2013, and he is a maintenance technician 2 at that time. And then in 2017, he became an HVAC technician 3. And then I'd like to tell you what his supervisor had to say. His supervisor is David Vestling, who is the director of facilities for the Bryan campus. And he said the following quote, "Dale has been an essential part of our facilities team for over a decade. More than just his technical expertise, Dale brings a deep sense of care for the people he works for and for the campuses he serves so diligently. His work is dependable, thoughtful, and done with a quiet pride that speaks volumes. To work with Dale is, in many ways, he says, pure poetry." Dale, thank you for all that you have done for Blinn College. In your 12 years here, it's been so impactful. And you were one of these people who's quietly behind the scenes making sure that we were all comfortable. And I appreciate you so much. And I know that our trustees would like to have an opportunity to thank you as well. So if you don't mind, each would like to shake your hand. And Dale, if you could come over towards the center, we'd like to do a little ceremony and also take your photo if we might. Trustee Chair Binky has something that she would like to give you.
This is a watch in honor of your service and a certificate. We appreciate your time at Blinn, and I know that your supervisor said it was poetry to watch you work. I know without you.
Nice way of putting it.
I know without you, some days would be nightmares. So we appreciate all you've done for Blinn, and thank you.
And I wonder, Dale, do you have family and friends or colleagues here? And also, would you like to have an opportunity to say a few words? And I'll hold this for you, or Trustee Binky will, for a moment.
Well, today, my supervisor from Brenham, many years, Richard Leminski's here, and I appreciate him being here, not just as a supervisor, but a friend also. And it's been a privilege working, serving at Blinn. Can't say enough good things about Blinn and the people, great people. I know I'm going to have some, I'm going to miss it, but, I feel like it's time for me to go ahead and move on. But nothing but good things about Blinn College and everybody that I've worked with and all the people I've met all the years I've been there. Thank you. Thank everyone.
Well, thank you so much. We'd like to take a photo. And then if you have any loved ones or special friends with you today, then we would ask them to come forward afterwards and we'll take a photo with them as well.
Richard's the only one that's here.
All right, Richard. Richard, I think you have been tapped. We'll have you come in just a moment.
Okay, but other than that, I'm blessed to be here.
And we are blessed to have had you here for 12 years. Thank you, Dale. All right, let's take a photo and then we'll have Richard come and join us for a second photo. Well, let's see if we can keep the poetry going, shall we? Our next retiree trustees is Julie Smith. Julie is a business office clerk 2 on the Brenham campus. Hey, Julie. Julie recently announced her retirement after 22 years of service to Blinn College. Julie began working at Blinn as a financial aid assistant in August of 2003, and she was named a business office clerk in 2017. Vicki Wooten, Assistant Director of Business Services, said the following, I quote, Julie has dedicated over 20 years of outstanding service to Blinn College, consistently providing exceptional customer care. She has been hardworking, compassionate, and a true pleasure to work with. Julie is more than just a valued colleague. She is a dear friend with whom we have shared countless memories over the years. Congratulations, Julie. She says you will be missed, and we all join that. Julie, you and I often see each other in the parking lot, don't we? Probably there more often than we do in our offices. It's been fun to chat with you in the parking lot, come rain or sun or shine. And it's been really something that I will miss seeing you. You've just been a joy to have at Blinn College. We're so grateful for your service here. We're going to miss you a lot. And I know that our trustees would like to shake your hand and thank you as well. So if you don't mind, trustees, and Julie, if you would mind, just go ahead and walk through the dais and they'll greet you.
In the middle? Yes, ma'am.
You are in the middle.
You're the woman of the hour.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for your time and commitment. I know that you have made a tremendous difference in the office and for the lives of many students here. Thank you.
It's been just so much fun to have you here. She is, I want to just say you're a hoot. You're just so fun. She makes you laugh. And as evidenced even today, we're really going to miss you. And I wonder, do you have friends or colleagues or loved ones with you here today as well?
Yes, ma'am.
You do? Well, let's give you an opportunity to say anything that you would like, if you would like, and then we'll take a photo of you, and then if you would like for them to come forward, we'll ask them to join us.
Thank you. I'd just like to say thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to work here. It's been my pleasure. I made a lot of good friends along the way that I truly miss, and a lot of coworkers that I've enjoyed the time working with. It's really been a great opportunity. It's been fun. It's been hard. It's been everything in between. As everyone probably here knows. But I do appreciate Blinn College and allowing me to work here and retire from here. Thank you.
You're so welcome. And do you have friends that you would like to invite to come forward in a few moments, or colleagues or loved ones? A lot? Rich, get that wide angle going. And in the meantime, let's go ahead and start with the three of us, and then we'll just expand from there. How does that sound? We have a little, for those that don't know, we have a little parking lot chat with most of these people. This is where we meet, and no kidding, we all know it. We're out in the parking lot chatting a lot. So, well, we don't want to overlook you. Come get right here in the middle next to her, and then I'll squeeze in. We may need to get tall in the back and a little shorter in the front, but Julie, you're in the middle. Tall or not, you're in the middle. people in this building tend to leave at 5, but some of us tend to leave a little later because we're still in the parking lot. It's been fun. It's kind of like a meet and greet group out there. We really enjoyed it. Well, trustees, our next retiree is Carl Fitz. Carl, won't you come forward, please? Carl is a chemistry professor on the Rellis campus, and he recently announced his retirement after 10 years of service to Blinn College. Carl was hired as an instructor in August of 2015. You came right after I came. We were within a couple of months of each other, Carl. And after that, 4 years later, he was named a full professor. Dr. Godney, Dean of Natural and Physical Sciences, said the following, and I quote, "Dr. Fitz spent the majority of his career in the chemical industry before transitioning to the classroom and brought that real-world experience to life for his students, using relevant examples that made the material engaging and meaningful. Dr. Fitz was known for his genuine care for student success, and his students consistently performed well and spoke highly of him. In addition to his classroom experience and excellence, Dr. Fitz was a valued colleague whose collegiality and membership helped fellow instructors thrive. He will be greatly missed by all who have had the privilege of working with him. Carl, you have done a magnificent job. I hope you have enjoyed, especially in your final years, being at the Rellis campus where it's been new and bright and we have all those wonderful lab facilities there for you. We have appreciated your presence, and also the fact that you brought real-world experience to the classroom is really helpful and meaningful to our students, because then the reverse is going to happen. They will then leave the classroom and go out into the real world, and you have made that transition so much easier for them. Carl, I know that our trustees would like to thank you too for your 12 years of service to Blinn College. We thank you so very much. And did I say 12? And was it 10? 10. Thank you. Come back to us soon. Have a wonderful retirement. Enjoy yourself. And thank you again for all that you have done for so many science students, and especially the chemistry students. We thank you so very much. I know our trustees would like to thank you at this time. And let's have you come forward, Professor Fitz. And I know that our chair, Trustee Binky, would like to say a few words to you.
I know that chemistry is one of those classes that most children or most students enter into with a little horror and fear, but with your experience, I'm sure you were able to make it real for them, and I know that that makes a tremendous difference. Thank you for your service to Blinn.
And if I'm not mistaken, Trustee Binky taught science, did you not?
I did, and many students were scared in my class too.
So as one science professional to another, she understands the impact that you have. And she's right, you know, chemistry can be a little intimidating. And I'm so glad that you were able to give all these years to Blinn. And I'm so glad that as chair, Trustee Binky was able to give you your retirement remarks. Would you like to have the opportunity to say anything to the group as well? And then also we'll do the same if you have any loved ones or friends here today or colleagues, we'll recognize them as well.
I just want to say thank you for the opportunity for teaching at Blinn. I've taught both on the Rellis campus, also the Brenham campus and the Bryan campus, all three. And thank you for bringing up the intimidation of chemistry. I really tried to meet the students where they were and to encourage them and to let them know that, you know, I'm a friendly face, you know, try to help them succeed. I was interested in student success.
It showed every
Fast and Furious.
wonderful that you got to be on all.
Fast and Furious.
And I think there's somebody who may be on YouTube with a mic on, so I'd just like to ask everyone to recheck their mute button. All righty. Well, We're going to memorialize you and hopefully not intimidate you by taking a photo of you. Is that okay? And then if you have people afterwards, we'll invite them to come forward as well. All right, maybe just to the center a little bit more. Thank you. Do you have friends, colleagues that you would like to have come forward for a photo?
Yes, my wife, Kay Fitz.
All right, Kay, come on down. We met earlier today. I'm so glad you could come for this special moment. Let's squeeze her in the middle, maybe scoot just that way, just a tad, and here we go. Thank you, Kay. Appreciate your being here. Thank you. You really have been wonderful. Thank you. Our next retiree is Karen Killian, a biology professor on the Brenham campus who recently announced her retirement after 19 years of service to Blinn College and our students. Karen, will you please step forward? She and I have already shared Kleenexes this morning, haven't we? Trustees, Karen was hired as a part-time instructor in January of 2006, and she became a full-time instructor in 2011. In August 2015, when I came to Blinn, she was named a professor. Dr. Elmer Godney, Dean of Natural and Physical Sciences, said, and I quote, "Karen Killian has been a friend to everyone she meets. Deeply committed to student success, she consistently went above and beyond in the classroom to help students understand complex biological concepts. Karen was always ready to lend a hand, supporting her department, her division, and the college whenever needed. Outside the classroom, she encouraged students by regularly attending their athletic events, musical performances, and theater productions. She also fostered a sense of community among faculty and staff, often bringing snacks to the break room to brighten the day. Karen's retirement leaves a meaningful void in the Blinn College family. Karen, thank you for all you have done to support Blinn College students over the past 19 years. I don't know how many theater productions, musical productions, and athletic events that we have sat through side by side. She has become a deep and close and personal friend for whom I will always be grateful for the welcoming hug and continuance of that throughout my tenure at Blinn. 19 years is a long time. You deserve the best, and I hope that you have a blessed and wonderful and joyful retirement filled with fishing and camping and RVing. And I told her earlier today that I have her Buccaneer Pass ready, so anytime she wants to come back and join me and all of us at Blinn activities, we will look forward to your welcoming face. And we will keep up together as we always have on Facebook and X, and we wish you Godspeed. And I know that our trustees would like to have the opportunity to thank you, Karen, for all that you have done in your 19 years at Blinn. Please stand. Thank you. Karen, As they say, come on down. I know that our chair would like to have a moment of an opportunity to say words of appreciation to you.
I know it's been 19 years at Blinn, but there were years in the classroom prior to that. I know at Brenham ISD. Anywhere else?
Stoneburg School in North Texas and Allen Academy in Bryan.
So it's not just 19 years of touching young people's lives. And I know that you have a lasting impact, and we appreciate your time here at Blinn.
Karen, would you like to have an opportunity to say a word or two?
I will always bleed Blinn blue.
Well said. Truer words may not have ever been said than that. Karen, do you have colleagues, loved ones, friends that you would like to have come forward in just a moment and recognize? This is one of those, so we just put Karen out there on the other side of the room and we'll all take a group photo. I know you have special friends here today, though, so let's take a photo and then we'll ask them to come forward. And I'm going to say this on behalf of Karen because we girls look out for each other, don't we? We always say, you know, if you have a rip in your hose or you have hair on your neck, we always wipe it off for each other. So, Rich, publicly, I'm going to ask you that we have such a thing as Photoshop. And I think for her retirement picture, she may want a little of that done for her today. All right, Karen, who would you like to have come forward?
Kenneth Schrader. My support staff.
He's been a pretty wonderful fellow, hasn't he? So good to see you again. Thank you. Come on forward. This is a special friend of Karen's, and I'm so glad that you can be here today for this special moment for her. It's very meaningful to have both of you here. Congratulations. Well, our next retiree is Andrea Buckskemper. Andrea is a math professor on the Rellis campus. Listen to this, trustees. Andrea has recently announced her retirement after 32 years of service to Blinn College. That deserves an applause. Andrea was hired as a part-time instructor in January of 1993, and then she became a part-time tutor that August. And then in August of 1997, she became a full-time instructor. And then in August of 2001, she was named a professor. Dr. Victoria Fowler, Dean of Business and Mathematics, said the following, and I quote, "Our department wanted to capture some thoughts, including from someone who has worked alongside Andrea throughout her entire time at Blinn. From our collective perspectives, Andrea is described as one of those rare people who not only knows her subject matter inside and out, but also has the heart and the patience to guide others towards success. She has a gift for meeting students where they are, challenging them, and encouraging them to see what they are capable of achieving. She has always been a trusted colleague and a mentor, always ready to listen, to offer support, or share her insight. We are sad to see her leave, but we celebrate her incredible legacy, and we wish her nothing but the best in her retirement." Andrea, 32 years. That is a lot of history and memory walking out the door today. We thank you so much for your service to Blinn College. Can you imagine how many students' lives you have impacted? They'll be talking about you for generations to come. I know our trustees would like to thank you as well. Would you mind, trustees, please standing, and Audra, they would like to have a chance to say hello to you. We'll put you in the middle as well. And I know that our chair would like to share a few words with you as well.
The world has changed a lot in 32 years. The way we teach in the classroom has as well. I commend you on such wonderful service to the students of Blinn.
Thank you. And I wonder, would you like to have the opportunity after 32 years at Blinn, you get the mic all to your lonesome. Here you go.
Okay. I've always appreciated the opportunity of serving with Blinn, and I've loved the colleagues, and I've made friends, and I have loved every single one of my students. So.
Do you have any loved ones, colleagues, or friends today that you would like to invite forward? Your husband's here today, I know. Come on down. That's right. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to follow the whatever she tells me to do. Okay, now it's your turn. Thank you for joining us this morning. It's really so meaningful that you all can be here together, and we so appreciate having both of your presence, because she's been here for 32 years. You've been here for a little bit too, at the backbone and the wind behind her wings, and so we'd really like to thank you as well. All right, let's take a photo together, shall we? Thank you again. You take care. Trustees, our next retiree is Susan Myers. Susan is the executive director of the Blinn College Foundation, and she recently announced her retirement after 12 years of service to Blinn College. Thank you, Susan, so much for being here. Let me tell those in the audience a little bit about Susan. She was hired in 2013, and since then, she has strengthened the foundation's financial position and opened doors of opportunity for countless Blinn students through scholarships and program support. She has cultivated meaningful partnerships throughout our community, developed innovative fundraising strategies, and led with vision and integrity. Susan was one of the first people that I met when I came to Blinn. I don't know if you remember, but I wandered over to the Wickham House, and there wasn't anybody in the lower level, so I called out, and I heard this, "Who is it?" And I yelled back, "It's me!" Not knowing, of course, who she was and who I was. I walked up those steps and plopped down in a very comfortable chair. And I had intended to just, quote unquote, drop by for a few minutes. And, an hour and a half later, we were still chatting. And I thought, who is this wonderful person who's so collegial and friendly, has a lot of knowledge about the college, gave me kind of on-the-record information and a tad bit of off-the-record information, we all know. And from that moment, we just clicked. Susan is special. She, as the executive director of the foundation, she kind of wears two hats. She has a board, and she has a chair of that board, and it's a nonprofit, and we think of that as the foundation. But she also had Letterman's Association and she had the Blinn alumni and friends, and she became kind of a mother hen to athletics and to many other programs within the college as well. But whenever we had a special event, Susan was there. She's not an 8 to 5 person. She's kind of a 5 to 5 person. Starts out early in the morning, goes all day, goes all night, and you can reach her at any time and on Saturdays and Sundays. And she has been, in many respects, I think, the face of Blinn, especially to certain populations and communities, who have a historical ties to Blinn. And that's something that just simply will not be able to be replicated. Susan, you have been a shining star at Blinn. And I don't know what your future plans may be, but I have a feeling it's going to entail some travel. And you too have a Buccaneer backer card waiting for you, because you go to a game and Susan is there. You go to an event and Susan is there. We have any kind of major activity at Blinn and Susan is there. So it's going to be awfully hard to go to the next events and look around the room and Susan is not there. But she's having fun somewhere. Yes, I think that Susan won't say goodbye, will we? We're going to be seeing you still I think, frequently at various activities. But I want to personally thank you on behalf of so many people within the community and former trustees and so many members of the associations and the foundation who thank you. And we're so glad that we can represent that and culminate that this morning in honoring you for your retirement. So let's come on forward. I know that Chair Binky would like to have, wait a minute, excuse me, every trustee wants to have an opportunity first to thank you. So if you don't mind, walk across the dais. And Susan, I know that Chair Binky would like to have an opportunity to say a few remarks to you.
You may not know this, but you are such the face of Blinn that I sometimes get asked, the tall blonde, and I'll be like, that's probably Susan. And then they'll be like, well, what does she do? And I explain it, and then I look you up and show them your picture, and they'll be like, that's her. She was there, and she was talking to prospective students or athletes, and I always hear such wonderful things about you.
Thank you.
I know you are so supportive of everything, and we all appreciate it.
Thank you.
Susan, would you like to have an opportunity to say a few words?
I'm just going to say Blinn College is a pristine college because of all of you in this room. It takes a family, and every one of you plays its role, and I couldn't do it without Sharon, so thank you, Sharon.
Thank you. And do you have friends, family, loved ones, Sharon? All right, well, let's take a photo together, shall we? And Sharon, would you like to come forward? Sharon is her administrative assistant.
Sharon can't do my role, I can't do Sharon's role, so we're good partners.
Sounds great. Here we go. Congratulations, Susan. Our next retiree is Dr. Joyce Lannenegger. Joyce is Dean of Academic Support Services, and she too recently announced her retirement after 19 years of service to this college and to our students. Joyce was hired in July 2006 as a part-time instructor. In 2011, she became a full-time instructor, and in September of 2014, she was named Interim Director of Professional Development, a role that became permanent 1 year later. Then, in September 2017, she was named Executive Director of Academic Success. And finally, in January of 2023, she was named or renamed the Dean of Academic Support. She works very closely with Dr. Marcelo Busicki, Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, and Marcelo has provided a quote as follows. Joyce's leadership has been marked by vision, innovation, and a deep commitment to student success. She has built programs and resources that empower students to excel academically and support faculty in delivering the highest quality instruction. Her ability to listen, collaborate, and inspire has made her a trusted colleague across every corner of our college. Trustees, you know Joyce well. She has been the heart of so many of our recognitions throughout the state and the nation. If you're wondering who has put your PowerPoints together, who has worked on your scripts and edited, who has made sure that we had a microphone working and the clicker worked in the convention center, you're looking at her. My very first memory of Joyce was when I first came to Blinn and I was at faculty convocation, so 10 years ago, right about this week, wasn't it? And I didn't have a script, I just talk as I often do. And I wanted to say something about Joyce because she's in charge of convocation and the week when faculty come back. And I remember trying to introduce her, and it was Dr. Joyce Lennon and Try saying that your first time. It took a little practice, didn't it? Now we just call her Joyce, don't we? Did you know that Joyce is an attorney? Some of you didn't know that. She's got a legal background. She keeps it straight and on the narrow. Joyce, as you can tell, is also a personal friend. We've traveled miles together across this United States, haven't we? Well, Joyce is going to keep traveling, but she's going to do it without me, dadgummit. She's going to do some traveling. And she's going to do a little golf. She's not going to tell you what her handicap is, but it's 2 digits, and we'll be kind. But what she's really going to do, she has these dogs. And I don't want to spoil her story should she have an opportunity to tell you personally. But they're a hoot. Now, they are a hoot, aren't they? And she's really good with having students at Blinn behave, and we all behave. But she's got some work to do with her dogs. Right, Joyce? Joyce, you have been a treasure at Blinn. I'm so glad that you held your retirement until this month so that we could have faculty come back as they did yesterday. And I know your arms are just in this position all week because everyone wants to have an opportunity to give you one hug and final goodbye. You have been so, so important to Blinn College, and I thank you so very much personally and on behalf of all our faculty and staff for your presence within this institution. And I know the trustees, Joyce, would like to have an opportunity, and I challenge you to say her last name as you shake her hand. Here we go, Joyce. Joyce, I know that Chair Binky would like to have an opportunity to express her personal wishes as well.
In my experience, which is very short with Blinn, Dean of Academic Support Services fits you so very well because we have all felt supported and encouraged by the things that you've done to help us look our best. I appreciate all that you've done to make Blinn the shining star that it is.
Now, Joyce, you're no stranger to a microphone, so here you go. Would you like to have a final few words to say?
Absolutely. I want to thank you, Dr. Busicki, and the board for giving me the opportunity to do a job I have absolutely loved and for surrounding me with such wonderful colleagues from all across the college. And just so you know, I'm not completely going away. As my friend Brandon Franke reminds me, professors don't retire, they just try to go part-time.
Well, part-time is wonderful. We'll take any time with you. Joyce, do you have any colleagues, loved ones, friends, relatives that you would like to come up in just a moment? Let's take a photo together, and then we'll have them join us as well. Right now, let's see who you'd like to have come forward.
Okay, well, certainly my husband, Kirk Hamilton. Those of you who have trouble with Langenegger, I chose not to take Hamilton. And let me just say, he has been recruited over the years to be one of the facilitators for FutureWorks. So, and I also have our library directors, Linda Gray and Janice LaPaglia, our instructional designers, Katie LaRocca and Helen Johnson, and our our Learning Center directors, Dale Mommer and Dylan Cole.
That's wonderful. Let's take one of just with your husband first, and then the rest of you come on down. And if I may, I'd like to invite Dr. Busicki also to join it because he's been such an advocate for you as well. All right, we'll take a photo together. May need to do a double row. Let's put a little shorter in the back and keep Joyce in the center. And Marcelo, let's put you next to Joyce, I think. Would that be all right? All right, I'm going to have you step forward. And maybe just tighten up just a tad if you can. Thank you. I wish you all. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Langenegger, I got it. Trustees, that's a lot of years walking out the door this morning. I'm so grateful that you who are retiring and your loved ones and colleagues could be here to recognize you today. We hope that you keep in touch. I know many of you we're going to continue to see, but don't forget us. But please remember that you go with the blessing of Blinn and the grace of God, and we are forever grateful for your presence in this institution. Thank you. Trustees, this concludes my report, and I appreciate all the time that you've allowed us this morning to recognize these special individuals.
Thank you, Dr. Hensley. Next up, our report, item 4B, presentation of financial statement package for the period ending July 31st, 2025. Clint?
Good morning, trustees. This is where Trustee Kokorus would always talk about why is the crowd leaving. This is reviewing the financial statements as of July 31st, 92% of the year. We'll cover unrestricted cash and cash equivalents, revenues, expenditures, financial results, and then observations. Looking at our unrestricted cash and cash equivalents, we have the $42.5 million in reserves, operating reserves. We have the capital projects for Mr. Feldhage that he uses for repair and renovations. That's $7.3 million. We have new projects of $25 million, and then we have funding for current projects of $12 million. This is one of our low points of the year in cash. We start getting more cash in come the August, September, October timeframe. Also, please note that the funding for new projects and the current projects, we have set aside money for architectural and design for the two current projects, and that'll be explained in this slide. That we have the Brenham Chiller, and then we have additional the sports and intramural complex, and then the Waller Academic Building. Looking at our cash and cash receipts, we've received $15 million. That is mostly from payments from students. We also received a state appropriation in July. That gives us $7.7 million to the positive. Our expenditures totaled $11 million for a combined use of cash for a positive $11.6 million. And then we were able to transfer $8 million to our reserves in the pools. Looking at the revenues, we're at $129 million in budget. We've collected $125.7 as of July 31st. We're real tight on the budget. Looking at our total operating revenues compared to last year, we're within 1%. Going forward, looking at our 5-year operating revenue comparison, state appropriations is trending up. Tuition and fees is pretty steady. And then you can see the other, which is that's where our HERF money came in from the COVID, and since then that has decreased on the other side. State appropriations, we budgeted $28.3 million. We received $29 million, or 102%. Tuition and fees, we're at 91% for the year. Looking at our tuition and fees compared to last year, there is a significantly insignificant amount of 0%, $187,000. Looking at our net tuition and fee revenue, you can see a little bump in in-district, and that's primarily due to FAST. Looking at our housing, we have collected $8.8 million. That's 80% of the budget. Auxiliary enterprises, going across our housing and food service are below where we were last year, but our bookstore is above. Auxiliary enterprises for the last 5 years. Food service is trending up, housing is trending down, and that's not unexpected because of the dorms we closed. On the expenditure side, we've spent $111 million compared to last year's $110 million, so we're $600,000 above. Looking at our comparisons, we're within 1% of last year, just 1% above. And expenses by total, again, we're 1% above. Salary and wages, very close to where it was last year. Looking at our financial results, we have $125 million in revenue. We have $111 million in expenses, and then that's $14 million positive. Compared to last year at this time, we were at $16.7 million, so there's a $2.8 million decrease from the prior year. And you can primarily explain that just to increases in salaries and benefits. Observations, we're healthy cash-wise. Our revenues are within budget. Our expenses are coming in under budget, and our carry forward right now is positive. Any questions?
Trustee Cross.
A couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
So you explained that the in-district tuition was due to FAST. I mean, it's almost doubled. Can you kind of explain that a little bit better?
Well, we had more students take advantage of our FAST program, the financial aid for Swift transfer. And so with that, we got more gross revenue.
But so if a student is out of district, but can they do FAST?
Yes, yes.
And so are we having less out of district revenue and more, are they counting as in-district revenue?
Well, no, yeah, they would be included into the lump of the out of district Well, not out of, let's see here, the students that are not in our district would be in the,
Out of district?
yeah, yes, sir.
So you mean like the Brenham and Burton FAST students were that much more? They were,
The gross number was, but keep in mind that that only shows the gross side. And then on the other side, on the far side, we had allowances. So the FAST gives us allowances.
okay.
And that includes all FAST and all.
Okay, well, that's just such an increase.
It is, and it sticks out. Well, there's no usually because this is kind of our first. Yeah, but
Was it in May?
well, we got one payment for our fall this past spring, and last I heard, and I will follow up with the board, we have not received our spring yet.
Trustees, if I can weigh in on that, this will be the second year for FAST. We've received payment for just the fall semester. The coordinating board is months and months behind on FAST reimbursement. We just received the fall payment at the end of the spring semester. So they're trying to improve that, but it's months and months behind.
That they have the whole eligibility process that they go through where they examine every student to see that they're eligible, and then it's quite an overwhelming process for them.
I had a question. The 14 million, is that going to go to the bottom line at the end of the year?
Yes, sir.
Will it stay around 14 million?
We anticipate a good amount. We need to get you a final number to that, but I'm too cautious to give an exact number right now. But we anticipate a positive number to the bottom line.
Well, okay, thank you.
So,
I assume we'll see that next month?
yes, sir, at the next month. And again, keep in mind, next month is not closed because that we have the audit adjustments.
It's not audited, but that's what our books reflect at the time, correct?
Yes.
Are there any other questions for Dr. Burton?
May I ask a question?
Yes, Trustee
On the dual credit, the FAST students, do we, of the total dual credit students that we have, Glenn, can we say a certain percentage are FAST? In other words, half of those, 50% are FAST, or do we? I mean, we have no history, but I'm just curious
Great
how many
question.
we have FAST versus non.
Yeah, that'll change every semester, and we don't know who the FAST students are until the coordinating board pays us for those students. The coordinating board is the one that makes those decisions, so we actually don't even get a full roster, a final roster, until the payment comes in, and then we have to go behind the scenes and compare what we thought was happening versus what actually happened, and we actually had to go back to the coordinating board to work out some of those differences in that payment, as lots of colleges did. So it's a moving target, and we didn't know our final fall 2025 roster until about April of this year. So.
Thank you.
I have a question regarding the bookstore, and I know that, a couple of 2 or 3 years ago, we decided to go with the Buck First program.
Buck Books program, yes, sir.
Buck Books program, and I noticed that it looked like our bookstore revenue is up. So are we finally starting to see kind of the result of that decision of doing
Yes, sir. Vicki Ward has done a wonderful job of shepherding this through the process. And just to let you know, that it is improving. The adoption rate is way high. It used to be that students would opt out. They are sticking with it. We sent out a press release about it, and it was, I wish I could remember the number off the top of my head, but it was a very significant amount that stick with it. It's also been introduced to our dual credit students, and that's also helped the participation.
Well, this may not be a question for you, Dr. Burton, but the purpose of that was to make sure kids had their books early. And have we seen any positive benefit from those kids having those books from their grade standpoint and that type of thing?
We don't really have data on that. We didn't collect data on that. But it's a fair assumption that impacts tremendously having the materials the first day of class.
Right.
Yeah.
Good. Well, that's a positive both ways, I think.
And yeah, we get additional revenue and students getting their books sooner.
Right.
With no further questions, we thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Next up is our institutional enrollment report for the Summer 2 2025 session. Dr. McBride.
Good morning, Chancellor, Madam Chair, and trustee members. I have the pleasure this morning, even though it looks like it's really dark outside with all the lightning, we're going to talk about our Summer 2 enrollment. The semester began back on July 7th, which was a Monday. It concluded August 4th on a Monday, with finals the next day on the 5th, which was a Tuesday. As you can see on this slide, trustees, we were above one student this year when compared to last year. I'm very proud to note you can see the increase in credit hours. So students took more classes with us this summer. We did pass the 22 and 24 numbers, as you can see. The 21 and 23 enrollment, we actually were surpassing that all the way till about the first day of classes. If y'all remember, beginning of July, there was a lot of flooding in Central Texas, and we actually had quite a few students contact us and drop their classes for personal reasons. So that did affect us this year. We also offer an additional 15 sections of classes this summer when compared to last, which makes sense with the increase in credit hours that were taken by students. On this slide, trustees, you can see a breakdown by the campus. We had the largest uprise, and you can see in Brenham, we had 30 more football players that actually moved in Summer 2 to help with those numbers. So that was great to have those guys on campus and doing their exercises. We had a large number this year. You can also see for the ISDs, I'd like to note for the dual credit, out of the 59 partnerships, we had students from 27 of the ISDs, which the highest number was from Waller. We had 30 students there. Somerville, Mumford, and Brenham also had good numbers of students, so we're very proud to see that up there this morning. We had a slight increase in other, and I wanted to notice on Waller, the reason you see 0 is because they're in the high school column. So we did have students on the campus. It's just they're categorized with the high schools when we do our reports. We had a few fewer classes at Bryan, and Aurelis also, we had the physical therapy courses were offered over the 10-week summer one as opposed to the Summer 2. So we just had shifted the classes earlier this summer, but we still had the students. In concluding the takeaways from this morning, I'd like to remind everyone that we had increased credit hours with our students, and I do foresee in the future having more and more enrollment for the Summer 2 semester. We've also been busy this summer in Waller. We had 5 open houses out there, and we had great traffic. We've had increased traffic in the office the month of July. We also had 6 TSI testing dates offered at the junior high. We helped about 30 high school students get their placement done as well, so that's very exciting news. We're also anticipating some good things from the fall. If you remember the past 2 years, we've had our first day of classes on a Wednesday. We're starting on a Monday this year to accommodate A&M students. So we have 2 additional days of adding students into our enrollment, which is, again, we're very excited about that. And I'd also like to say that Brenham is looking very good for the fall, too. So a lot of great things from the enrollment side, and I'll stand for any questions.
Does anyone have any questions? Thank you, Dr. McBride.
Thank you so much.
Our next item up is the legislative summary for the 89th Texas Legislative Session. Mr. Schubert.
Thank you, Chair Benke, Chancellor, trustees. We wanted to just follow up with an additional legislative report. We talked in June, as you remember, on a couple of hot topic items that we were wanting y'all to be aware of as we continue to process that. I want to give a little update on a couple of those items and then talk about some other items. Lots of things happened in this session. We're still weeding through a lot of those things. The coordinating board is still going through rulemaking on a lot of these things, but wanted to give you an update on where we are on that. Trustees, as you remember, we talked about Senate Bill 37, which was the Faculty Senate bill. That did lots of other things besides Faculty Senate. So I just want to give a brief reminder on that and some dates that we're going to be handling some of those items as we come forward. In addition addition to the Faculty Senate item, the law requires you as the board to review the curriculum of the college every 5 years. That first has to be done by January of 2027, and we have to certify to the state that that's happened. We're looking at doing that this coming spring will be our first time to do that review. We'll talk more about that as that comes out. As the chair and the board, you can appoint a committee of the board to do that and make recommendations to the board. We'll talk more about that as it comes, but just want to keep that on your radar. We will be doing a full curriculum review based on Senate Bill 37 starting in the spring semester, well before that January 2027 date. Also want to talk about some other things that were involved in that bill, and some of these are still moving forward. Some of those are still being fleshed out. The bill has some involvement with the board in the hiring of certain positions like provost and deans and those sort of things. The board has a little more involvement in that. The coordinating board's working on how that's going to look. We also have to balance that obviously with SAC COC standards and all those sort of things. We'll keep you updated on that, but that is a developing story as part of that bill. One of the main items in that bill was the Faculty Senate. As you know, the Faculty Senates are all abolished across the state of Texas as of September 1st of this year. We've been having some very positive conversations with Faculty Senate over the summer. I want to thank Dr. Wes Gurley and his whole team. Very great conversations. We're working towards that. What we've done is we've looked at what are the requirements of Senate Bill 37, how does that impact our current Faculty Senate, and how do we recreate that Faculty Senate underneath Senate Bill 37 rules. Trustees, at this point, we feel confident that's going to come to you at the September board meeting. We're having a lot of different conversations. I'm actually speaking at Faculty Convocation on Thursday about these items. We continue to have those conversations. So we're getting close on that, on the recreation of that based on the rules of Senate Bill 37. A couple of other bills of interest that I think y'all would want to know about. One of the major pieces of legislation is Senate Bill 2615 by Senator Creighton. This is the remote work bill. There was a specific remote work bill, 2615, applied to institutions of higher education, including community colleges. It makes a blanket prohibition on remote work for employees of institutions of higher education. A blanket prohibition. Then the bill lists several exceptions to that. And there are lots of exceptions. We'll cover some of those just so you're aware. The first exception is what they're calling non-teaching positions, which is not defined in the bill, but after talking with other colleagues and legal counsel and all those sort of items across the state, that is really referring to staff members. Staff members. The second exception are what are called teaching positions that are not faculty members. Faculty members is defined in the bill, and faculty member for this instance involves a full-time faculty member. So a teaching position that's not a faculty member would be an adjunct instructor, a part-time instructor. Part-time instructors are exempt from this bill, just our staff members. What that leaves is the bill really applies to full-time faculty members. Blanket prohibition on remote work for full-time faculty members. It does list some very specific exceptions for those. The first is if there's an accommodation through HR and those sort of things, sickness, illness, those sort of things. And then it lists 3 specific items for faculty members, full-time faculty members. If you're on a temporary research assignment, if you're providing telehealth services like in our clinical rotations with our nursing faculty, they're doing clinical rotations, or if you're teaching a dual credit course at an ISD location. Outside of those exceptions, all the work of all full-time faculty must occur on campus. And that's a major change, not only for Blinn, but for every single college. So we're working through that with faculty, going through those processes, but that work is now going to be occurring all on campus. Even if you're teaching a remote or online course, your instruction for that remote course has to be delivered from campus. And that's a major change that we're working through with all of our full-time faculty members. So that's one of the major items that we're getting a lot of discussion on, a lot of questions on, and we're working through that. I want y'all to be aware of how that's working. Some other bills that I think you would find of interest, Senate Bill 1191. This was regarding how you weight GPAs for dual credit students and AP students. Currently, AP courses are weighted differently than dual credit courses. This bill says that those GPAs for high school students must be weighted equally. So if you take an AP course or a dual credit course, it's the same weight for your GPA. I think that's going to help higher dual credit enrollment. Part of the reason students were not taking dual credit is I can take an AP course, get a bump on my GPA that I don't get for a dual credit course. That is now changing, where AP and dual credit will be weighted the same. I think that's a very good thing. House Bill 1522, this talks about open meetings. Trustees, as you're aware, we must post these meetings currently 72 hours in advance, so 3 days in advance of these meetings. What House Bill 1522 says, those days have to be business days. Weekends, as of September 1st, no longer count on the 72-hour rule. So it's 72 hours of business days. So what that means for you is, and I know you're very excited about this, you're going to get your packets earlier. I know you guys are just itching to get those packets a day earlier. So instead of posting what we normally do on the Friday, we're going to be posting earlier. So you're going to be getting those delivered a little earlier than you normally do because we have to comply with that 72-hour business hour posting. So that's one of the items there. I want to mention Senate Joint Resolution, SJR 59. This relates to TSTC and their funding. The legislature created a permanent fund for TSTC. It's not as similar as like the PUF fund, the Permanent University Fund that A&M in Texas has. It's not exactly the same, but think along those same lines. And they can use it for lots of things: construction, facilities, delivery of course equipment, all those sort of things. It's a wide open fund for TSTC. In FY26, the legislature has allocated $52 million for that fund. That's a permanent fund. They can only spend the interest, and there's certain items and rules that apply to that, but that is what they're doing. Now, this is I mentioned it's a Senate joint resolution. It's not a Senate bill, which means this is a constitutional amendment. This will be on the ballot in November for the voters of Texas to decide if we want to formally establish this funding for TSTC, but the legislature did allocate $52 million in FY26 for that, but it will be before the voters of Texas as a constitutional amendment this coming November election. I also want to mention Senate Bill 530, which is from Senator Sparks. This is an accreditation bill. What it says is the Texas colleges do not have to use SAC-COC. All Texas colleges currently are required to use SAC-COC. This bill says that we are no longer required to do that. I will mention to you that Texas A&M University has worked with several other colleges from across the Southeast, which is where SAC's area is, some major universities, and they are developing their own accrediting body. A&M and these handful of other universities across the South and Southeast are doing that. That will be open to other colleges. It's not formed yet. They're still doing that. But I thought it was very interesting that Senate Bill 530 came through, no longer have to use SACs, and very shortly after that, A&M came out and announced that they're working on their own accrediting body with a handful of other major universities across the South and the Southeast. I do want to mention also that there have been some rule changes with the coordinating board that we've been tracking. They've been really working on, as again, you've heard me say this before, the coordinating board was told House Bill 8 is too expensive. So they've been trying to find ways throughout this session and now into shrinking the cost, shrinking the price tag for House Bill 8 funding for community colleges. And they made some rule changes that are going to do exactly that. One of those changes is that they are limiting the number of performance tier funding items you can get per student per year. So if I'm a student who earns multiple credentials of value in 1 year, they are limiting the funding we get for that. So if I was in Vice Chancellor Anderson's area and I earned an Occupational Skills Award and I earned 2 of those in the year, Blinn gets funding for only 1 of those. Only 1 of those. You cannot double up in those categories. You can get a level 1 certificate, level 2, that's fine, but if you get multiple certificates in the same batch, 2 OSAs, 2 level 1 certificates, 2 associate's degrees for that matter, only 1 of those counts for funding. That's a major shrink down to what we're currently doing. They're also being more restrictive on the date the credential of value was earned. So let me just give you a little example, and this is even hard to follow. I had a big flow chart on all of this. For the credentials that were conferred in FY26, you had to earn that credential no earlier than June 1st of 2025. What that is saying is I cannot take hours from 5 years ago, roll that all into my credential, and all of a sudden I have a credential that I earned across a 5-year window. That's not allowed anymore. You have to earn those hours in a very specific window of time. That is not a good thing for community college students. Many of our students come in for life changes. They got to go out and work and take care of family or whatever the case may be, and they come back to us after that life event is over. This is going to have an impact on that. Once again, shrinking down when those transfers and hours are earned and when they count towards actually receiving a credential of value. It's also going to have a very big impact on two items that Blinn's been very good at recently: reverse transfers and lost graduates. If the lost graduates were 5, 10 years ago, they're not going to count even if we confer them an associate's degree because they did not earn those hours within the window. Same thing for reverse transfer students. If you're a reverse transfer student, you took hours at Blinn and you go to A&M, we have the ability to reverse transfer those credit hours back to A&M to confer an associate's degree. However, if they don't earn those hours at A&M within the specific timeline, we cannot reverse transfer them back, or we can reverse transfer them back, we just don't get state funding for that. So it's limiting all the time the timing of when those hours were earned, when they count towards a credential. So what this is going to mean is we're still going to be the leader in all these things. We're just going to get less state funding for doing that. So that's continues to be worked through the coordinating board rule process. Lots of things going on with these other bills I've talked about. We'll continue to keep you updated, but those rulemakings are coming out, and especially since a lot of these bills are effective September 1st, there'll be even more of that coming out in the meantime. Sorry to throw all that at you, but just want to give you a highlight of some of those items. Any questions or anything else I can offer on those?
Question.
Go ahead.
So just to be clear on that, the last thing, now I don't know all of the individual success points anymore, but like, so for example, there used to be a success point for gaining 30 credit hours. Do those 30 credit hours, then all 30 have to be within that time period, or can?
Great question. So as a reminder, as Dr. Krausen was mentioning, prior to House Bill 8, there was a list of success points: 30 hours, 15 hours, and remedial courses, a whole bunch of lists. That's all been boiled down to those 3 items in House Bill 8. Credential of value under associate's degree, those sort of things, 15 hours of dual credit while in high school, and then 30 hours in a transfer to a 4-year university. So the short answer is, if those hours that count, so first of all, you have to have in one of those categories. The 15 hours of dual credit obviously would be earned there in high school, and we can move those forward. The hours to transfer, those hours, to your point, have to be completed in the timeline set by the coordinating board.
What about started, though? Can it overlap, like, say?
They have to be completed. So if those hours were 5 years ago, that's outside of that timeline window for the coordinating board. Therefore, those do not count towards that. It's got to be within that timeline. So it's a severe restriction for how we're using those hours. Because in the past, if you had 20 hours 10 years ago and you came back and did 10 this year, you could combine those into 30 and transfer. That's no longer the case. Yeah. Serious changes there.
Question.
Go ahead.
I have a question. How is the stuff you were just talking about on the credential of value, and how is that going to affect the state appropriations that we anticipate for this next year's budget? And will that could it create a shortfall in what?
Yeah, great question. So what we did was, for this upcoming fiscal year's budget, we used the base amount we received this year. Now, you guys remember we had a reduction in state funding under the original numbers. Now, you just saw Dr. Burton's presentation. There were several items that came. We had this is more than you care to know. You've heard about the dynamic adjustment. And when we outperform our metrics, we get additional funding. And that's great. We were used to that. But in our final payment from the state, there was another lump sum of money that was unaccounted for, that was not associated with outcomes. It was just, I'm trying to remember the term they used, final adjustment or something like that. And we had no explanation as to where that money came from. So there's money coming in from all sources around here that go all over the place. The reason I say that is we did not use the final number that you saw for state appropriations. We did not use that for next year. We used our lower amount that we were originally budgeted for, that we did receive more on, but we went on the lower amount, not the additional money that we received later, because we may or may not receive that money in the upcoming fiscal year. So we went with the lower amount, the reduced amount, and I'm not anticipating that these changes are going to reduce that below that lower amount that we originally were receiving for this current fiscal year that we rolled over to the next fiscal year. Great question.
question. On the remote teaching deal that we visited about, is the remote programs, were those pre-COVID or were those primarily COVID going forward?
Great question. We've always had remote instruction even prior to COVID. Obviously, it increased during COVID because we were all doing remote item there, but we've had remote instruction at Blinn long before COVID. That's not a new thing at Blinn.
Now they are required to come in and teach every one of those courses.
The full-time faculty must conduct their teaching for in-person or remote courses, or hybrid courses for that matter, on campus.
Are there any other questions? O'Malley?
It's a little bit off topic, but are we set up with facilities to provide the teachers to the ability to teach remote?
That's a great question. What Trustee O'Malley is asking is we've had these facilities, and a lot of these teachers have been, professors have been doing this off campus. We do have that. We've had to work on finding some places for them to go, but we do have the facilities for that. That's part of what we've been working through. Yes, we have gotten over that hurdle. We are locating spaces for them to perform those actions.
Okay. Dr. Hensley would also like to comment.
Thank you. Trustees, a few comments, if I may. First of all, thank you, Leighton Schubert, Executive Vice Chancellor, for your leadership regarding all issues related to governance as well as other things. You have done a superior job in tracking all the legislation. This last session, Trustees, was very, very impactful on all community colleges and continues to be. It started really not this session, but session before with House Bill 8. So there are a few points I'd just like to underscore. When we talk about enrollment and we talk about all the regular kinds of presentations that we typically bring to you, Leighton, I would like for you to just help the board start off with a new academic year with the understanding of what counts for the state funding. Would you do that, please? And then I'd have some more comments.
So the vast majority of state funding comes from the 3 performance tier funding aspects. That's receiving a credential of value. That is 15 hours of dual credit in high school, and that's 30 hours at community college and transferred to a 4-year institution. Those are the only 3 things that we get from a performance funding. That is 99% of our state funding comes from those 3 items.
It's very important to know because it's a major shift. If you've been on the board or you've been a staff member for years, we have been funded on enrollment, and that is no longer the case at all. And I just want to continually remind you of that. Second, there are faculty who are going to be concerned. There will be. And we've done a lot throughout the summer to try to let people know what to expect that goes into effect September the 1st. Internally, trustees, administratively, we have implemented a lot of procedures to make sure that we're geared up and in compliance with all of the new legislation. And we are ready to go, and I feel confident that we are following the law to the letter and that we are completely aware and prepared for the changes that the legislation has mandated. The third point I would make is that the state funding is a revolving number. You can't put a pin in it on any given day. It just is, and that is how it was created legislatively. As a result of that, and most of you know me well, I have insisted on an extremely conservative position on everything we do financially. So as we approach this budget year, trustees, please know that we are in great shape. We are ready to move forward with our plans, and we are going to be fine. We have budgeted conservatively, we have wiggle room, and we are prepared for changes that may come as we wax and wane through any quarter. So I'm not terribly concerned about the unexpected surprises that we've had in the last year. We now know how to prepare, and we're ready for them. They will come. There are going to be some ups and downs. We know that. We don't know, for example, our numbers on workforce because of what Leighton just explained to you. That's, a credential may not count that we would have thought. Trustees, you experienced with us in live time what happened on transfers last year. We kept you completely updated that just because you transfer from Blinn to a 4-year does not mean that we get credit for that. So we're very on top of this, and that's why I wanted to publicly thank Clayton. I'd like to thank Dr. Burton. You've done an amazing job. You came to Blinn and House Bill 8, and you kind of came together, and it wasn't easy. You had to learn a new institution and a whole new process of funding, and you and your staff have done a masterful job. I couldn't feel more confidently than I do with you and your team, and I'd like for you all to stand. Vicki, Chris, all of you, Carol, I want you to stand, and I want to publicly thank you for your great work. I mean that very sincerely. There's another person I would like to recognize this morning, and I'd like for him to stand, Dr. Gurley. Dr. Gurley, I want to publicly thank you. Dr. Gurley, Trustees, is president of our Faculty Senate, which will be done away with September 1st. And he knows that, we know that. He's been so accessible during the summer. He's answered my phone calls. We've had Zoom meetings. He's been a wonderful representative of Faculty Senate, and I have assured him that we are holding hands and going through these changes together, and I believe he knows that. And I'm so grateful for all that you have done in helping us together get through the transition that we are embarking upon. Trustees, you're going to hear. Thank you, Dr. Gurley. Let's give him a round. Trustees, you're elected officials. You may hear from faculty and staff. Well, we used to do it this way, and we've always done it that way. Well, this year you may hear a little more of that phraseology. And the reality is, yes, we did. We used to do it that way, and we always used to do it that way. But times, they are a-changing, as they say. And so we are doing what is now required by the law, and we are embracing it, with full welcoming arms, recognizing that it's going to take all of us working together, and that there will be some missteps along the way, and even some surprises along the way. But I am very confident, really comforted in where we are with our budget, how we look on for our financial picture now, and I want to underscore this into the future as we develop expansions into Blinn College. So for faculty and staff, for all of those of you who are listening on YouTube, I'll be talking to Convocation later this week, and that is the same message that I will be sharing with everyone. Blinn is a wonderful place. It's in stellar position academically. It is in absolutely strong position financially. We have an outstanding board of trustees, and we have tremendous faculty and staff, some of whom we lost today, but are equally replaced by wonderful people. Thank you, Trustee Binky. I appreciate the opportunity to say a few remarks.
Thank you, Dr. Hensley.
Thank you.
Thank you. Schubert. Okay, moving right along. To item 5, the consent items. All items listed in this portion of the agenda are considered to be routine by the Board of Trustees and will be acted upon one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a trustee so requests, in which event the item will be removed from consent and considered in discussion and possible action. Trustees receive agenda materials in advance of the meeting to prepare for the business to be conducted. I would need a motion for all of these items to be approved by consent. It has been moved and seconded. Yes, Ehlert and Colcourse, we've got it down. Thank you. For all of the items listed in consent on the consent agenda to be approved, all in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry. Oh,
Couple of
yes,
things
I
to
have
read.
it right here. I want to apologize. All items listed in this porch, I've read that. Trustees, before we vote on the consent agenda, we have trustees that need to make disclosures regarding certain items. Trustee Colcourse.
Chapter 171 of the Local Government Code and Texas Education Code, Section 51.923, requires that if a local public official or an individual related to the local public official has a substantial interest in a business entity, the official shall disclose before a vote or decision on any matter involving the business entity the nature and extent of the interest and shall abstain from further participation in the matter. I have such an interest in regard to Agenda 5E My wife serves on the Board of Directors of Citizens State Bank based in Somerville, Texas. Because of this, I hereby recuse myself from any discussion or official action related to Agenda 5E and specifically exclude Agenda Item 5E from my vote on the consent agenda. So therefore, I will pull back my second on that motion.
We'll go with that. We'll redo that. I also need to read that statement. Texas Education Code Section 51.923 requires that if a local public official or an individual related to the local public official has a substantial interest in a business entity, the official shall disclose before a vote or decision on any matter involving the business entity the nature and extent of the interest and shall abstain from further participation in the matter. I have such an interest in regard to Agenda Item 5E. My husband is employed by Citizens State Bank and also serves as the secretary to the Board of Directors of Citizens State Bank based in Somerville, Texas. Because of this, I hereby recuse myself from any discussion or official action related to Agenda Item 5E and specifically exclude Agenda Item 5E from my vote on the consent agenda. So we'll still take Ehlert for the motion. I'll need a new second. Trustee Krausen has seconded the motion. All in favor of approving the consent agenda as printed, with the exception of Colkhorst and myself for item 5E, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And the motion carries. And for item 6, we have approval of the proposed tax rate for the 2025 fiscal year and setting the date, place, and time for a public hearing to discuss the proposed tax rate. Dr. Burton?
Good afternoon again, or good morning again. Today, we'll cover our general overview, our recommendation and rationale, and today's goals. The general overview. Community colleges are the only public institutions of higher education that construct and maintain campus facilities without state funding. Community colleges have taxing authority. Blinn College District has the authority to tax Washington County. In return, all Washington County students who attend Blinn get a reduced tuition that is 48% of the out-of-district. All right, keeping in mind, just as a reminder, there are two main property taxes that an entity can collect. The first one is maintenance and operations, and that's what it takes to operate the college. Keep in mind that the amount of money that it takes to operate Blinn's facilities is not covered by the property tax. We actually have more expenses than is covered by the property tax. The other type of tax is interest and sinking. That requires a general obligation bond voted on by the public and a repayment of it. That is not relevant for Blinn. The Washington County Chief Appraiser determines two main concepts or two main types of taxes. The first one is the no new revenue rate. That's the amount of a tax that it would take to generate the same amount of revenue that we received last fiscal year. And then there's the voter-approved rate, which is roughly 8% of the no new revenue tax rate. What is the increase of there? Of those rates that we were assigned, there was the no new revenue rate, which is 0.404 cents per $100. And then the current rate is 4.21, and then the voter-approved rate is 4.39. Our current funding overview is we're 27% from property tax, 72% from student revenue, and then 1%, depending on how you round it, from property tax. Looking at our history, Blinn kept above the 5% until 2022, and then we went down to 3 cents, and then the legislature kicked in with the 5 cent rule that if you don't collect 5 cents, you will be penalized. So, and if to recover from that, Right now, the way current law is, we can only go up about 8% a year. So we're kind of caught in a catch-22 a little bit. Comparing Blinn to other tax rates compared to other entities in the area, you can see Blinn is substantially lower than anybody else. And this is presenting that same information graphically. The red line at the bottom is Blinn. Going through, comparing Blinn to other entities in the state, community colleges, Blinn is clearly the lowest. And again, below the 5 cents that the state is insisting upon. The administration's recommendation and rationale. The administration recommends a 4.38 tax rate, which would get us closer to the 5 cents and reduce the amount of penalty we receive from the state for being below 5 cents. The increase that this board approved last year reduced our penalty from $870,000 to around $560,000. So as we move closer, we reduce our penalty. These are the steps that are involved, okay? The BFIA approved a proposed rate. Today, we'll need to vote on a proposed rate. From that, we need to set a date of when if we go above the no new revenue rate, we have to set a date for public hearing. We also have to vote on having the rate to move it forward. We also have to hold an advertisement for it. And then right now, tentatively, we have scheduled, or actually scheduled, a public hearing for 9:30 a.m. On next Tuesday, before the board meeting on Tuesday the 26th. And then on the 26th, at the regular meeting, the board will vote to adopt a tax rate followed by resolution. Mr. Schubert, do you want to add anything to that? No, okay, we're covered. All right, so what is our rationale behind this? The state of Texas has frozen tuition. In addition, we lose appropriation, as I just mentioned before, for every amount, a percentage that we are below the 5 cents. The closer we are to the 5 cents, the less the state penalizes Blinn. The legislature is looking at reducing the amount that community colleges and hospital districts, which are the only entities that can go up to 8%, to capping that to 4%. Blinn receives approximately $3 million annually in property tax. The operation of the campus facilities is approximately $6 million, and that doesn't even include unplanned or unrecurring things such as a chiller replacement, which is $6.8 million. Today's goal is to propose a tax rate to be placed on the agenda for August 26th as an action item, and also to call a public hearing on the proposed tax rate that will be held at 9:30 before the regular scheduled meeting. The next steps, the BAIF recommends a proposed tax rate, which is done. The full board votes on the proposed tax rate. Then there's an announcement to set a tax rate that exceeds the no new revenue rate, and then set a date for the hearing. And then we have to advertise in the local newspaper. On the 26th, before the regular scheduled board meeting, there'd be a trustee vote and adoption of the tax rate. And then on the 26th, the full board will vote and adopt the tax rate by resolution. So again, today's goal, discussion and questions. Sorry.
Since we had a meeting on this last week, I think everybody is aware of all the steps needed and the special board meeting that would be called for next week following a public hearing. Are there any questions that you have at this time?
I have just a question or statement. I'm not sure. So we're currently, for this coming year, we'd be looking at losing $570,000 because we're not at the 5-cent tax rate.
That is correct. Those are the projections we received from the coordinating board for this upcoming fiscal year.
And I know in this last legislative session, we made every attempt to try to convince the legislature to eliminate that 5% rule so that we would not be penalized.
That is correct, and that was adamantly opposed by the coordinating board.
And so, would it be safe to assume that the legislature and the coordinating board felt like it was their opinion that a community college like ours should be more highly supported from a property tax standpoint than what Blinn currently is supported?
That's correct.
Thank you. Those are all excellent points. Any further discussion? Dr. Hensley?
No, ma'am, thank you.
Then I would call for a motion that would have the approval of the proposed tax rate for the 2025 fiscal year. We would set the date of next week, 1 week from today, August 26th, for the public hearing and also the special board meeting to follow the public hearing on that same day, August 26th. Time for the public hearing would be 9:30, and the special board meeting would be immediately following. Yes, sir.
Chair Benke, on this, since it's a proposed tax rate, we do need a roll call vote on this. So once you get a motion in a second, we'll start at Trustee Kettler and just work our way across the dais.
May I?
I move that we approve the proposed tax rate of .0438 for the 2025 fiscal year and set the date for the hearing as August 26, 2025 at 9:30 in the morning here in the Blinn College boardroom, and thereafter hold the board meeting at 10 o'clock to adopt such rate.
Can I have a second?
I'm going to make one correction to that. The special meeting will be directly after the public hearing, and it will be posted in our postings.
Okay.
Second.
And now it'll be a public roll call. Trustee Kettler, how do you vote?
No.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Having 6 in favor and 1 opposed, the motion carries. The next item on the agenda is executive session. I've been informed that we have no executive session for today. And the final item is adjournment. I need a motion from Krausen and a second from Ehlert. We are adjourned, and the time is...
Oh, we got to vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we are adjourned. The time is 11:56. No.